Have you ever felt the sting of being undervalued? It's a moment that cuts deep, leaving behind a mix of sadness, confusion, and even anger. Yet, within this pain lies an opportunity for profound transformation, a chance to rediscover your self-worth and embrace the art of detachment. In today's video on Buddhist mindfulness, we'll explore the timeless teachings of Zen and Buddhist philosophy to help navigate these challenging emotions. Together, we'll delve into powerful stories and parables that illustrate how to let go of attachments to external validation and reclaim inner peace. Through these teachings, we'll also reflect on the value of impermanence, showing how moments of rejection can lead to deeper self-understanding and growth. By examining personal insights and practical mindfulness techniques, we'll uncover how to respond with grace and clarity when someone no longer values you. Instead of holding on to resentment, you'll learn how to channel your energy into building a renewed sense of self-respect and purpose. By the end of this journey, you'll not only have actionable steps to practice detachment, but also a deeper appreciation for your intrinsic value, one that remains untouched by the opinions or actions of others. Number 1, the Zen Foundation, Understanding Self-Worth. Zen philosophy is a profound guide that transcends cultural boundaries, offering insights into the human condition and the essence of self-worth. It reminds us that our true worth isn't determined by the approval or recognition of others, but rather by our own ability to see and value ourselves. A lotus does not bloom in barren land. It flourishes only in nourishing environments. In the same way, our energy and efforts must be channeled into spaces and relationships that value and reciprocate them. This perspective encourages a transformative shift from seeking external validation to cultivating inner clarity and self-awareness. In Zen teachings, the lotus is a powerful symbol of resilience and purity. Despite growing in muddy waters, it rises above the surface, untainted and radiant. This imagery serves as a metaphor for human self-worth. Like the lotus, our value is intrinsic, not dictated by the environment. Yet, the environment plays a role in enabling us to thrive. Surrounding ourselves with people and situations that nurture and appreciate us allows us to flourish. Conversely, investing energy in unappreciative or toxic spaces can stunt our growth and diminish our sense of self. A popular Zen tale illustrates this concept vividly. A compassionate and selfless individual, deeply committed to helping others, found themselves feeling invisible and undervalued despite their unwavering efforts. Burdened by this sense of inadequacy, they sought the wisdom of a Zen master. The master listened attentively before offering a simple demonstration, filling a cup with water until it overflowed. When a cup is full, the master explained, pouring more into it is futile. This analogy underscores a crucial truth. No matter how pure or abundant our intentions, they can be wasted if directed toward those who cannot or will not receive them. The lesson here is not to stop giving, but to be discerning about where and to whom we extend our energy. The journey to understanding self-worth often begins with reflection. Consider moments when your efforts were dismissed or unappreciated. Such experiences can evoke feelings of rejection and inadequacy. However, Zen philosophy encourages us to view these instances not as reflections of our shortcomings, but as signals to reassess our surroundings. These moments are opportunities to pause and ask, am I investing my energy in places that honor it? Practical steps to cultivate self-worth. 1. Meditation for inner clarity. Meditation is a cornerstone of Zen practice and a powerful tool for developing self-awareness. By sitting in stillness and observing our thoughts without judgment, we can discern between the external noise of others' opinions and our inner truths. This practice fosters a deep sense of self-acceptance and clarity about our values and desires. Number 2, setting boundaries. Recognizing our worth involves setting boundaries that protect our emotional and mental well-being. This might mean stepping away from relationships or environments that consistently drain us or fail to acknowledge our efforts. Boundaries are not acts of selfishness, but affirmations of self-respect. 3. Practicing gratitude. While it's vital to address areas where we feel undervalued, it's equally important to recognize and appreciate those who do see our worth. Expressing gratitude for supportive relationships and fulfilling experiences reinforces our sense of connection and purpose. 4. Reassessing goals. Sometimes feelings of inadequacy stem from misaligned goals or expectations. Periodically reevaluating our aspirations ensures they remain true to our evolving values and authentic selves. This alignment enhances our motivation and satisfaction. The role of compassion. Zen philosophy places great emphasis on compassion, not only toward others, but also toward ourselves. Recognizing our own worth requires kindness and patience as we navigate moments of doubt and insecurity. Self compassion is the antidote to self criticism and the foundation of enduring self worth. Understanding and embracing our worth has a ripple effect. When we value ourselves, we naturally inspire others to do the same. This shift creates healthier dynamics in personal and professional relationships. Moreover, by embodying self worth, we contribute to a culture that celebrates authenticity and mutual respect. In the context of self worth, failure is often misconstrued as evidence of inadequacy. Zen reframes failure as a natural and essential part of growth. A bamboo shoot doesn't grow straight overnight, it bends and sways with the wind, adapting and strengthening over time. Similarly, our perceived failures are not permanent marks against our worth, but stepping stones that refine and define our journey. Resilience is a key aspect of self-worth. Just as the lotus rises above the murky waters, we can overcome challenges and setbacks by staying anchored in our inherent value. This resilience is nurtured through mindfulness, self-reflection, and a commitment to living authentically. Zen philosophy offers a timeless reminder that our worth is not a currency to be traded for approval, but a treasure to be cherished and safeguarded. By shifting our focus inward and embracing practices that nurture our self-awareness and resilience, we can break free from the cycle of external validation. The journey to understanding self-worth is not always straightforward, but it is profoundly rewarding. In honoring our worth, we not only enrich our own lives, but also inspire and uplift those around us. Like the lotus, we can rise above the noise of the world, untainted and radiant, embodying the essence of our true selves. Number 2, the power of detachment. Silence speaks louder glazing. Detachment is a profound concept that resonates deeply within the philosophies of Buddhism, Stoicism, and various spiritual practices. It encourages individuals to step back without harboring resentment or bitterness, allowing a natural recalibration of relationships, emotions, and perceptions. At its heart, detachment isn't about indifference, but cultivating an inner strength that doesn't depend on external validation. In Buddhism, detachment is often linked to the idea of non-attachment, a practice that helps us free ourselves from clinging to transient things. When we detach, we release the need to control, possess, or overly influence outcomes. This doesn't mean we stop caring. Rather, it means we learn to care without conditions. This approach allows for inner peace, even amid chaos. It's the foundation for building resilience and self-awareness. The metaphor of a river illustrates this beautifully. Imagine trying to hold on to water as it flows. The tighter you grip, the more it slips through your fingers. Detachment teaches us to cup our hands instead, allowing us to hold water gently without losing it. Silence is one of the most powerful expressions of detachment. In a world where noise often dominates, silence is a statement. It's a pause, a chance to reflect, and an opportunity to let others hear the echo of their actions. Silence allows us to respond with thoughtfulness rather than impulsiveness. It's not avoidance, it's wisdom. When faced with conflict, our natural instinct might be to argue, defend, or justify. However, detachment invites us to withdraw gracefully. This withdrawal doesn't signal weakness. It's a calculated decision to conserve energy and preserve dignity. Silence, coupled with detachment, speaks volumes in ways words often cannot. It conveys self-respect, boundaries, and a refusal to engage in destructive dynamics. Practical applications of detachment 1. In relationships thrive on mutual respect and understanding. Detachment doesn't mean you stop investing in relationships, but rather that you invest wisely. Instead of pleading for attention or validation, detachment encourages you to step back and allow others to appreciate your presence through your absence. This often leads to a recalibration where mutual respect grows. For instance, consider a scenario where a friend continuously cancels plans. Instead of confronting them angrily, you might choose to step back, letting your silence communicate your boundaries. This absence can often prompt them to reassess their behavior. 2. In professional settings, Detachment can be a game changer in the workplace. Rather than getting embroiled in office politics or disputes, maintaining a calm and detached demeanor often garners respect. By focusing on your responsibilities and not reacting impulsively to provocations, you demonstrate professionalism and emotional intelligence. 3. In personal growth, detachment is integral to self improvement. When you detach from past mistakes, failures, or regrets, you allow yourself to move forward. It's about letting go of the baggage that no longer serves you and focusing on growth. Reflecting on my own life, I recall a period when I was entangled in a toxic friendship. The relationship was draining, characterized by constant negativity and an imbalance of effort. Despite repeated attempts to address the issues, the pattern persisted. One day, I decided to detach. Without bitterness, I stopped initiating conversations and withdrew from the dynamic. At first, it felt uncomfortable, even selfish. But with time, I realized that this act of detachment wasn't about punishing the other person. It was about protecting my peace. Interestingly, this decision prompted the other party to reach out, apologizing for their behavior. While we didn't fully reconcile, the shift allowed me to set boundaries and prioritize my well-being. Consider the story of a spiritual seeker who devoted years to helping a community. Over time, his kindness was taken for granted, his contributions overlooked. Rather than confront the community with complaints or accusations, he chose to withdraw silently. His absence created a void, forcing the community to reflect on the value he had brought. This withdrawal wasn't driven by anger, but by the need for balance. Over time, the community reached out, seeking his guidance once more. The seeker's silence had spoken louder than words, compelling them to acknowledge and appreciate his efforts. This wasn't about revenge, but about restoring equilibrium and fostering mutual respect. Detachment leads to emotional freedom. It liberates us from the need for external validation and the weight of unrealistic expectations. When we detach, we allow others the space to act authentically, even if their actions don't align with our desires. This practice fosters healthier relationships and helps us develop a stronger sense of self. Emotional freedom doesn't mean suppressing emotions. Instead, it's about experiencing them without being controlled by them. Detachment provides the clarity to navigate emotions constructively. It's crucial to differentiate detachment from indifference. Detachment is active and conscious, rooted in self-awareness and compassion. Indifference, on the other hand, is passive and often stems from apathy or disinterest. While detachment nurtures growth, indifference stifles it. The goal is not to stop caring, but to care in ways that empower rather than deplete. Practical steps to cultivate detachment. 1. Practice mindfulness. Regular meditation helps you observe thoughts and emotions without judgment, fostering a sense of detachment. 2. Set boundaries. Learn to say no when necessary and protect your energy. 3. Reflect on values. Identify what truly matters to you and align your actions accordingly. 4. Embrace impermanence. Accept that change is inevitable and view endings as opportunities for new beginnings. 5. Focus on the present. Let go of past regrets and future anxieties to fully engage with the present moment. Detachment is a powerful tool for navigating life with grace and wisdom. By stepping back without resentment and embracing silence, we allow space for reflection, growth, and transformation. In relationships, workplaces, and personal endeavors, detachment fosters balance and emotional freedom. It teaches us that sometimes the loudest statement we can make is our silence, and the most profound action we can take is to let go. Number 3, cultivating inner strength through mindfulness. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, the concept of mindfulness serves as a sanctuary for the weary soul. Mindfulness is more than a fleeting trend. It is a timeless practice that invites us to reconnect with our inner selves. By cultivating mindfulness, we can develop a profound inner strength that anchors us through life's uncertainties. This journey begins with awareness, deepens with detachment, and culminates in self-reliance and true freedom. During moments of detachment, the seeker turned inward, practicing meditation and repeating the mantra, "I am enough." This simple yet powerful practice cultivated self-reliance, serving as a reminder that external circumstances do not define one's worth. By dedicating time to inner reflection, the seeker discovered an enduring strength, untouched by the fluctuations of the external world. Zen teaches us that attachment to external validation only prolongs suffering. True freedom lies in embracing two key concepts: anicca, impermanence, and anatta, non self. By recognizing that all things are transient and that the ego is a construct, we liberate ourselves from the chains of desire and fear. Attachment to external validation is akin to chasing shadows. The more we rely on external sources for approval and happiness, the more elusive they become. The Zen philosophy emphasizes that suffering originates from this attachment. Freedom, on the other hand, arises when we learn to let go. The principles of anicca and anatta remind us that the universe is in a constant state of flux, and clinging to illusions of permanence leads to disappointment. Mindfulness teaches us to observe these truths without resistance. When we practice mindfulness, we cultivate a deep awareness of the present moment. This awareness fosters resilience, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with grace. It also helps us detach from the ego, which constantly seeks validation and recognition. Imagine a pearl discarded as an ordinary stone. Did the pearl lose its worth? Certainly not. Instead, the observers lost their ability to recognize its brilliance. This story illustrates a profound truth about self-worth. Our value does not diminish because others fail to see it. It is our perception of ourselves that matters most. By turning inward and embracing mindfulness, we reaffirm our intrinsic value, independent of external opinions. This story also highlights the importance of perspective. Just as the pearl remained unchanged despite being overlooked, we too must remain steadfast in our self-worth, regardless of external circumstances. Mindfulness enables us to cultivate this perspective, anchoring us in the truth of who we are. Cultivating inner strength through mindfulness involves consistent practice and deliberate effort. Here are practical steps to integrate mindfulness into your daily life. 1 daily meditation. Dedicate 10 minutes each day to mindful reflection. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, observe them without judgment and gently return to your breath. Over time, this practice will help you develop a deeper connection with your inner self. 2. Embrace impermanence. Reflect on the impermanent nature of life. Acknowledge that everything, whether joy or sorrow, is temporary. This awareness fosters resilience, enabling you to face challenges with equanimity. 3. Cultivate self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that you are inherently worthy, regardless of your achievements or failures. Practice self-affirmations such as, "I am enough," or "I am deserving of love and happiness." 4. Observe your emotions. Spend time each day observing your emotions without judgment. Notice how they arise, peak, and fade. This practice helps you develop emotional intelligence and prevents you from being overwhelmed by transient feelings. 5. Detach from validation. Challenge the belief that your worth depends on external validation. Remind yourself that true freedom comes from within. Focus on cultivating a strong sense of self-reliance and inner peace. Repeating a mantra such as, "I am enough," reinforces self-worth and shifts your mindset. Mantras are powerful tools for reprogramming the subconscious mind. By repeating positive affirmations, you gradually replace self-doubt with self-confidence. Incorporate mantras into your mindfulness practice. As you meditate, silently repeat your chosen affirmation. Let the words resonate deeply within you, anchoring you in your intrinsic value. Mindfulness not only strengthens the individual, but also creates a ripple effect, positively influencing those around you. When you cultivate inner peace, you radiate calmness and compassion. This energy inspires others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery. Imagine the impact of a world where individuals prioritize mindfulness. Communities would thrive on understanding and empathy rather than conflict and judgment. By embracing mindfulness, you contribute to this collective transformation. To begin your journey of cultivating inner strength through mindfulness, commit to the following daily practices. Morning reflection. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each morning in mindful reflection. Focus on your breath, set an intention for the day, and repeat a positive affirmation. Mindful breaks. Throughout the day, take short breaks to center yourself. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and bring your attention to the present moment. Gratitude practice. Before bed, reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. This practice shifts your focus from lack to abundance, reinforcing a positive mindset. Journaling. Write about your experiences with mindfulness. Document your emotions, insights, and progress. Journaling deepens self-awareness and provides a space for self-expression. Mindful walking. Incorporate mindfulness into daily activities, such as walking. Pay attention to the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your steps, and the sights and sounds around you. Cultivating inner strength through mindfulness is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. It requires patience, perseverance, and an open heart. As you embark on this path, remember that every step you take brings you closer to inner peace and resilience. Through mindfulness, you learn to navigate life with grace and clarity. You discover that your worth is not defined by external circumstances, but by the unshakable truth of your being. Embrace this journey and let mindfulness illuminate your path to inner strength and freedom. Number 4, lessons in impermanence. Letting go with grace. Zen wisdom offers profound insights into life's fleeting nature and the art of letting go. It teaches us that clinging to what no longer serves us only prolongs suffering. By learning to release our attachments, we open ourselves to transformation and renewal. Letting go, much like a tree shedding its leaves, is an essential part of life's rhythm, an act of trust in the unseen cycles of growth and change. Imagine a tree standing tall amidst the changing seasons. Through spring and summer, it provides shade, shelter, and fruit, offering sustenance to those who seek it. Birds nest in its branches, travelers rest beneath its canopy, and its fruits nourish all who partake. Yet, the tree's existence is not free from challenges. Storms batter its branches, humans carve their initials into its bark, and its fruits are often taken without gratitude. Despite this, the tree continues to give, unconditionally and without judgment. When autumn arrives, the tree begins to release its leaves. It does not cling to them out of fear of loss or uncertainty about the future. Instead, it lets go gracefully, trusting that the cycle of life will bring renewal. The shedding of leaves is not a sign of the tree's weakness, but of its strength and wisdom. By letting go, the tree prepares itself for the rest and regeneration of winter, ensuring it can flourish once more in spring. This parable mirrors our own lives. We often hold on tightly to relationships, possessions, or beliefs, fearing the void their absence might create. Yet, just as the tree teaches us, letting go is not an act of defeat, but a necessary step toward growth and renewal. Letting go requires courage. It challenges us to confront the fear of the unknown and to trust in life's inherent balance. Many perceive letting go as a sign of weakness or failure, but in truth, it is an act of immense strength. It takes resolve to release the familiar and step into uncertainty. When we let go, we honor our journey and make space for new opportunities and experiences. It's an act of self-respect and trust in life's flow. Holding on to what no longer serves us, whether it's a toxic relationship, an outdated belief system, or material possessions, only weighs us down, preventing us from moving forward. Letting go frees us to embrace life's impermanence with grace. Practical steps to letting go. 1. Acknowledge your attachments. Start by identifying what you are holding on to. Is it a past experience, a relationship, or a belief? Awareness is the first step toward release. 2. Reflect on the purpose. Ask yourself whether this attachment still serves your well-being or growth. If it no longer adds value to your life, it may be time to let it go. 3. Practice gratitude. Honor what this attachment has brought into your life. Acknowledge the lessons and memories, and express gratitude for the role it played in your journey. 4. Visualize release. Imagine yourself releasing this attachment. Visualize it as a leaf falling from a tree, carried away by the wind. This mental imagery can make the process feel more natural and less daunting. 5. Seek support. Letting go can be challenging, but you don't have to do it alone. Seek guidance from trusted friends, mentors, or therapists who can provide perspective and encouragement. 6. Focus on the present. Shift your attention to the present moment. Letting go becomes easier when you ground yourself in the here and now, appreciating life as it unfolds. Life is in constant motion, a series of beginnings and endings that shape our journey. Just as the tree trusts in the cycle of seasons, we too must trust in life's flow. This trust allows us to face change with resilience and hope. Impermanence is not something to fear, but to embrace. It reminds us of life's preciousness and encourages us to live fully in the present. When we cling to the past or fear the future, we miss the beauty of the now. Letting go liberates us, allowing us to experience life's richness without the burden of attachment. Letting go paves the way for renewal. Just as the tree's bare branches in winter may seem desolate, they are, in fact, brimming with potential. Beneath the surface, the tree is preparing for a new season of growth. Similarly, when we let go, we create space for new possibilities to take root. Renewal can manifest in many forms: a new relationship, a fresh perspective, or a deeper sense of self-awareness. It is a reminder that life's endings are not final, but are instead gateways to new beginnings. By embracing this cycle, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life and discover a profound sense of peace. Zen philosophy offers practical wisdom for letting go. It teaches us to accept life as it is without resistance or attachment. Through mindfulness and meditation, we can cultivate a sense of detachment, not in the sense of apathy, but as an acknowledgement of life's impermanence. This detachment allows us to engage with life fully while remaining free from the suffering caused by clinging. Zen also emphasizes the importance of non-judgment. Just as the tree does not judge those who take from it, we too can learn to release judgment and expectations. This shift in perspective fosters compassion for ourselves and others, making the process of letting go more graceful and empowering. Consider adopting a personal practice to help you navigate the art of letting go. This might include daily meditation, journaling, or simply spending time in nature. These practices can ground you and provide clarity, making it easier to recognize and release attachments. Each time you feel resistance to letting go, return to the image of the tree. Remind yourself that letting go is a natural and necessary part of life. Trust that, like the tree, you have the strength and wisdom to endure and the resilience to thrive. Letting go is a profound act of grace. It is an acknowledgement of life's impermanence and a testament to our inner strength. By embracing the lessons of the tree and the wisdom of Zen, we can navigate life's changes with courage and serenity. As we release what no longer serves us, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities of renewal and growth. In letting go, we find freedom, peace, and the enduring beauty of life's ever-changing journey. Number 5, freedom in detachment. Detachment is not about abandoning life or its joys, nor is it about becoming indifferent to people or circumstances. It is about freeing oneself from the need for external validation and embracing the authenticity that lies within. True detachment doesn't push the world away. Instead, it lets you engage with it fully, but on your terms. In a society that often demands conformity and thrives on external approval, achieving detachment is an act of profound liberation. Imagine carrying a lantern through a dark forest. The light doesn't depend on others' willingness to accept it, it simply exists. Its purpose is not to please, but to illuminate. You, as the bearer of the lantern, understand that its glow is for your path and for those who choose to walk with you. This metaphor illustrates the essence of detachment. By releasing the need for validation, you are not dimming your light, but allowing it to shine authentically. In doing so, you find freedom. Freedom from the burden of trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you, and from the fear of rejection that stifles personal growth. Detachment originates from a deep understanding of impermanence. Everything in life, relationships, achievements, possessions, is transient. Clinging to these fleeting moments creates suffering. When we attach our self-worth to the approval of others or the outcomes of our efforts, we become prisoners of circumstances beyond our control. Detachment, therefore, is not about becoming cold or unfeeling, but about recognizing that our inner peace should not hinge on external factors. This perspective aligns with ancient philosophies and practices. In Buddhism, detachment is a cornerstone of the path to enlightenment. The Buddha taught that craving and attachment are the roots of suffering, and by releasing these attachments, one can attain true freedom. Similarly, in Stoicism, detachment is seen as the ability to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. The Stoics emphasized focusing on one's own actions and judgments rather than being swayed by external events or opinions. Letting go doesn't mean losing love or care, it means choosing peace. Love, when accompanied by detachment, becomes unconditional. It is no longer about possessing someone or expecting them to meet certain standards. Instead, it is about accepting them as they are and loving them from a distance that safeguards your well being. This form of love is not diminished by detachment, it is purified by it. Consider this: when you let go of the need for others to validate your worth, you stop viewing relationships as transactional. You no longer need someone to complete you or to provide you with a sense of identity. Instead, you can approach relationships from a place of wholeness, giving freely without the expectation of receiving in return. This is the essence of freedom and detachment. Practical steps to cultivate detachment. 1. Embrace self-awareness. Begin by understanding your attachments. Are they rooted in fear, insecurity, or a need for validation? Journaling can help identify these patterns and bring clarity to your motivations. 2. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches you to live in the present moment and observe your thoughts without judgment. When you notice yourself clinging to an idea or outcome, pause and bring your attention back to the present. Set boundaries. Healthy boundaries are essential for detachment. They protect your energy and allow you to prioritize your well-being without guilt. 4. Engage in self-care. Focus on activities that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental health. By investing in yourself, you strengthen your ability to detach from external dependencies. 5. Reframe rejection. View rejection as redirection. Instead of internalizing it as a personal failure, see it as an opportunity to realign with your true self and goals. 6. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. This mindset fosters contentment and reduces the tendency to cling to external sources of happiness. One of the most challenging aspects of detachment is dealing with rejection. Whether it's in personal relationships, professional endeavors, or social interactions, rejection can feel like a blow to your self-worth. However, by practicing detachment, you can transform rejection into an opportunity for growth. For example, suppose you apply for a job and don't get it. Instead of dwelling on feelings of inadequacy, turn inward and focus on areas where you can improve. Embrace hobbies that bring you joy, strengthen relationships that uplift you, and pursue goals that align with your authentic self. Over time, you'll realize that the rejection didn't define you. It redirected you toward a path better suited to your unique strengths and aspirations. When you cultivate detachment, you begin to rely less on external sources for your happiness. Instead, you discover the power of inner fulfillment. This doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world. It means engaging with it in a way that aligns with your values and truth. Inner fulfillment comes from knowing that you are enough as you are, without the accolades, approval, or affection of others. Take, for instance, the story of the seeker carrying the lantern. Even if no one acknowledges the light, the seeker continues forward. The lantern's glow isn't dependent on external validation. It exists because the seeker believes in its purpose. This is the essence of inner fulfillment, a quiet confidence that comes from within, unshaken by the opinions or actions of others. While the concept of detachment is liberating, the journey toward achieving it is not without challenges. Old habits and thought patterns can be difficult to break. You may find yourself slipping back into the need for approval or struggling to let go of certain attachments. These moments are not failures, but opportunities for growth. It's also important to recognize that detachment is not about isolation. While it encourages independence, it also emphasizes interdependence. Detachment allows you to connect with others authentically without losing yourself in the process. This balance requires continuous practice and self-reflection. Freedom and detachment is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. By letting go of the need for validation and embracing your authentic self, you unlock a life of peace, purpose, and inner fulfillment. Detachment doesn't mean distancing yourself from love or life. It means engaging with them from a place of wholeness and resilience. Remember the seeker and the lantern. Even in the darkest times, you carry your light. Whether others choose to walk with you or not, your path remains illuminated. In detachment, you find the courage to walk that path, not for approval or recognition, but for the freedom to be true to yourself. Number 6, finding harmony, balancing compassion and boundaries. Compassion is a beautiful quality. It allows us to connect with others on a deep human level, to understand their struggles, and to offer kindness even in difficult situations. However, compassion is often misunderstood as a call to accept mistreatment or to forsake our own well being for the sake of others. In truth, genuine compassion is balanced by the ability to set boundaries that protect our emotional, mental, and physical health. This balance is essential for living a harmonious and fulfilling life. The journey toward balancing compassion and boundaries often begins with an important realization. Compassion does not require enduring disrespect. The seeker, as we'll call our protagonist in this narrative, learned this lesson through a series of transformative experiences. They discovered that forgiveness is an act of inner liberation, not an obligation to maintain proximity to those who cause harm. By establishing clear boundaries, the seekers safeguarded their peace while maintaining the ability to extend compassion from a safe and respectful distance. At its core, compassion stems from empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. When someone wrongs us, it can be tempting to respond with anger, resentment, or even retaliation. Yet, compassion allows us to recognize the pain or struggles that may have driven their actions. It gives us the strength to let go of bitterness and embrace forgiveness, not for their sake, but for our own healing. However, there's a crucial distinction between compassion and enabling harmful behavior. Compassion is not a green light for others to violate our boundaries or mistreat us. It does not mean turning a blind eye to disrespect or allowing ourselves to be drained emotionally. True compassion must begin with self-compassion, valuing ourselves enough to protect our well-being while extending kindness to others. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what is acceptable and unacceptable in our interactions with others. They are not walls that shut people out, but safeguards that preserve our integrity and peace of mind. For the seeker, setting boundaries was an act of self-respect. They realized that boundaries are not about punishing others, but about communicating their values and needs clearly. Without boundaries, relationships can become imbalanced, leaving one party feeling overburdened or taken advantage of. The seeker's journey highlights the importance of recognizing when someone undervalues or disrespects you. In these moments, it's essential to speak up, set limits, and protect your peace. Practical advice for balancing compassion and boundaries. 1. Recognize your worth. Understand that you deserve respect and kindness just as much as anyone else. Valuing yourself is the foundation for setting healthy boundaries. 2. Communicate clearly. When someone crosses a boundary, address it directly but kindly. Use I statements to express how their actions affect you. For example, I feel disrespected when you speak to me that way. 3. Practice forgiveness without obligation. Forgiveness is a powerful act of self-healing. It allows you to release resentment and move forward. However, it does not mean you must reconcile with those who hurt you. Forgiveness can coexist with distance. 4. Stay firm in your boundaries. Once you've set a boundary, enforce it consistently. People may test your limits, but standing firm reinforces your self-respect. 5. Seek support when needed. Balancing compassion and boundaries can be challenging, especially in close relationships. Don't hesitate to seek advice or support from trusted friends, family, or professionals. 6. Reflect regularly. Take time to reflect on your interactions and relationships. Are your boundaries being respected? Are you extending compassion without compromising your well-being? Imagine throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples radiate outward, touching every part of the water's surface. Similarly, valuing yourself creates waves of respect that influence your relationships and the world around you. When you set boundaries and practice compassion and harmony, you model healthy behavior for others. This inspires them to honor their own boundaries and treat others with kindness and respect. The seeker's story is a testament to this ripple effect. By prioritizing their well-being and setting boundaries, they cultivated a sense of inner peace that enriched their interactions with others. Their actions encouraged those around them to reflect on their own behaviors and relationships, creating a positive chain reaction. Compassion and boundaries are not opposing forces, but complementary elements of healthy relationships. Compassion allows us to see the humanity in others, even when they make mistakes. Boundaries ensure that this compassion does not come at the expense of our well-being. Together, they create a dynamic interplay that fosters mutual respect and understanding. The seeker learned that balancing these forces requires ongoing effort and self awareness. It involves listening to your inner voice, recognizing your needs, and taking action to protect your peace. It also means extending grace to others while holding them accountable for their actions. To embrace the balance between compassion and boundaries, start by looking inward. Reflect on your values, needs, and limits. Practice self compassion and acknowledge that you are worthy of respect and kindness. Then extend this compassion to others without compromising your boundaries. Remember, balancing compassion and boundaries is not about perfection, it's about progress. Each step you take toward valuing yourself and respecting others contributes to a more harmonious life. Like the seeker, you can find peace in this balance and inspire others to do the same. In the end, compassion and boundaries are two sides of the same coin. Together, they enable us to navigate relationships with grace and strength. They remind us that we can be kind without being a doormat, forgiving without forgetting, and loving without losing ourselves. This is the essence of finding harmony. The seeker's transformation wasn't about proving their value to others, but reclaiming it for themselves. By letting go of what no longer served them, they unlocked a life of peace and authenticity. This journey is one we are all invited to embark upon, for within each of us lies an innate worth waiting to be rediscovered and celebrated. Life often presents us with challenges and relationships that test our sense of self-worth. These experiences, while painful, serve as opportunities to grow, evolve, and strengthen our inner foundations. The seeker's story is a testament to the power of introspection and the courage it takes to prioritize oneself. It is not selfish to seek your own happiness. Rather, it is an act of profound self-love that radiates outward to benefit others as well. Imagine a serene pond where a lotus grows. The lotus does not compare itself to the reeds or lilies. It does not bloom to outshine the others or seek validation. Instead, it blooms because it honors its nature, thriving in muddy waters to reveal its beauty. The lotus is a powerful metaphor for self-worth. It teaches us to embrace our unique path and let our value shine effortlessly. Like the lotus, we are not defined by our surroundings or the opinions of others. We flourish when we align with our true selves, allowing our inner light to guide us. The act of blooming is not for the applause of the world, but for the joy of being true to who we are. Key lessons on the journey to self-worth. 1, your worth is independent of others' perceptions. Society often conditions us to measure our worth based on external validation, achievements, appearances, or approval from others. However, true self-worth comes from within. It is a quiet confidence that remains unshaken by criticism or praise. When you internalize this truth, you free yourself from the endless cycle of seeking external approval. 2, detachment is not rejection, it's redirection. Letting go of unhealthy relationships, toxic habits, or unhelpful thought patterns is not an act of rejection. Instead, it is a conscious decision to redirect your energy toward what nurtures and uplifts you. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means recognizing what no longer serves your highest good and choosing to release it with grace. 3, love and compassion start with yourself. We cannot pour from an empty cup. To offer love and compassion to others, we must first cultivate it within ourselves. This means treating ourselves with kindness, forgiving our mistakes, and celebrating our progress. When we prioritize self-care, we create a strong foundation from which we can genuinely connect with and support those around us. Practical steps to embrace your self-worth. 1, practice self-reflection. Spend time journaling or meditating on your values, strengths, and aspirations. Understand what truly matters to you and align your actions accordingly. 2, set healthy boundaries. Learn to say no to situations or relationships that drain your energy. Boundaries are not walls, but guidelines that protect your well-being. 3, celebrate your achievements. Big or small, acknowledge your accomplishments. This reinforces a positive self-image and helps you appreciate your journey. 4, surround yourself with positivity. Seek out people, environments, and activities that inspire and uplift you. The energy you surround yourself with greatly influences your mindset. 5, seek growth over perfection. Understand that mistakes are part of life. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on learning and growing from your experiences. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Buddhist mindfulness. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you practice self-worth in your daily life? What challenges have you faced, and how did you overcome them? Together, let's continue this journey towards self-respect and inner peace. This is more than a story. It's an invitation to rediscover your worth and embrace life with newfound clarity. Remember, the path to self-worth is not a destination but a lifelong journey. Each step you take brings you closer to your authentic self, where peace, joy, and fulfillment await. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.